following are first-hand accounts of people who have experienced true horror. These are their stories.
I was 16, almost 17, living in a small one-story house near the woods with my mom and my little brother Ryan, who was 7 at the time. My mom worked night shifts at a nursing home, so I was the one watching Ryan when she was gone. After I put him to bed around 8, I'd usually spend the night on the couch watching TV, scrolling through my phone, and eating whatever junk food I could find. Normal teenager stuff. The house wasn't completely isolated, but our nearest neighbors were far enough away that you couldn't hear them if they screamed. I used to love having the house to myself, until everything changed. The first strange thing that happened seemed so minor at first. It was around 11:30 p.m. I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone when I heard this soft shuffling noise, like someone slowly dragging their feet across the carpet. I froze. Ryan was already asleep. My mom was at work. I held my breath and waited, trying to convince myself I imagined it. A few seconds passed and then I heard it again. Faint, slow scuffing, like someone trying not to be heard while moving through the living room. My heart started pounding. I got out of bed as quietly as I could, grabbed my phone, and crept into the hallway. The front door? Locked. Windows? Also locked. Nothing looked out of place. But then I saw it. The hallway closet door was cracked open. We never left it open, ever. I stood there frozen, every nerve on edge. My instincts screamed at me to go back to bed, pretend I hadn't seen it, but I didn't. I yanked the door open, nothing, just coats and old shoes. I laughed it off, told myself I was just being paranoid, but I still locked that closet door before going back to bed. A few nights later, I woke up suddenly, for no reason. The room was pitch black, silent, and then I heard it, breathing. Deep, slow breathing that wasn't mine. It wasn't coming from outside or the hallway. It was inside my room. I reached for my phone, my hands shaking, and turned on the flashlight. I scanned the room, empty. The closet was closed. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. After that, I started to feel watched. Like, whenever I turned away, someone was there, just out of sight, just around the corner. I told my mom, but she said I was being dramatic. Then about a week later, she came home early and woke me up. Her face looked pale, unsettled. She asked me why the back door was unlocked. I told her I'd locked it, and I meant it. But she said it was wide open when she got home. I didn't argue. That night, I locked my bedroom door and kept my phone beside me. At some point in the middle of the night, I woke up again, that same cold feeling like something was wrong, and I heard the breathing again. I sat up, heart pounding. My closet door was open, not wide, just barely. And as I stared, it moved, just slightly, just enough. I turned on the flashlight, and that's when I saw him. There was a man crouched inside my closet. His skin was pale like he hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. His greasy hair clinging to his face, his body sickly thin, and he was smiling at me, a wide, horrible grin. I don't even remember getting out of bed. 1 second I was staring into his eyes. The next I was running, slamming the door behind me, tearing down the hallway to Ryan's room. He woke up crying as I grabbed him and sprinted out of the house with my phone already dialing 911. The police showed up fast. They found him still inside my closet. Turns out he had been living in the crawl space under our house for weeks. He got in through a loose vent and had been sneaking into the house at night, watching us sleep, stealing food, hiding in places we never thought to check. And the worst part, the thing that still gives me nightmares, was what they found behind my coats when they pulled him out. A knife. The police said he was probably waiting for the right moment. I try not to think about what would have happened if I hadn't woken up that night, but every now and then, I do. And that's why I'll never stay home alone again.
Back in high school, running was my escape. I'd throw on my shoes after class and hit the trails to clear my head, especially when life got overwhelming. I wasn't new to it. I'd been running track since middle school, so I had decent endurance and could keep a solid pace. This story takes place during my senior year when my mind was a mess of decisions and stress. College choices, deadlines, the fear of everything changing. One cloudy afternoon, I decided I needed air, so I headed to a park near my house with some great trails. It wasn't as crowded as usual, which honestly felt like a blessing. I stretched, popped in my headphones, and started jogging, zoning out like I always did. I passed a few people and gave polite nods, but then I saw him, a man standing off to the side, smiling, not with his teeth, but with this twisted smirk that immediately unsettled me. His eyes didn't match the smile. It reminded me of something out of a horror movie, unnerving, deliberate. I nodded like usual and kept running, telling myself it was nothing. But I noticed something weird. Every lap I did, which took a good 5 to 8 minutes, he was still there, in the exact same spot, not moving, just watching. It didn't feel right. I told myself maybe he was waiting for someone, maybe just enjoying the quiet. But each time I passed, that same eerie presence lingered. The crowd thinned out as the sky grew overcast, and soon I realized my car was the only one left in the parking lot. I figured the coming rain had sent everyone home, but I still had energy, so I kept going. When I looped back past the place where the man had been standing, he was gone. I slowed to a walk, pulling my headphones out, and immediately noticed how unnaturally silent everything was. No wind, no birds, no traffic, just the sound of my own breathing and the distant thump of my music. That creeping feeling of being watched returned, heavier this time. I scanned the trees, tried to shake it off, and kept walking until I looked up. He was there, walking toward me now. No smile, no expression, just a blank, almost angry stare. He wore jeans, boots, and a long-sleeved shirt, which struck me as odd since it was over 80 degrees and humid. He looked completely out of place. I kept my head down and passed him, heart racing, but I didn't run yet, not until I glanced back and saw that he had turned around too, now following me. At first I walked faster, then jogged, then ran. Every time I picked up speed, so did he. I couldn't believe it. Who runs in jeans and boots? My brain scrambled for options, but I was trapped mid-trail, too far from the entrance and too far from the end. If I turned back, I'd pass him. If I kept going, I'd lose visibility, but I had no choice. I ran harder, hoping I could loop back to my car without him catching me. The rain started falling, slow at first, then heavier, soaking everything. The trail got darker, slick with water and mud. I turned to look. He was closer now, his face still blank, but his body moved with an almost mechanical drive. No hesitation, just pursuit. That's when I made a decision. There was an old, steep cut-off trail I used to take before it became overgrown, a slope through thick brush that cut a third off the loop. Most people avoided it because of how dangerous it was, but I knew it. At full sprint, I feinted like I'd stay on the main trail, then veered hard left, slamming through vines and brambles and thorns. I heard a sharp gasp behind me and crashing footsteps. I barreled downhill, not daring to look back until I reached the bottom. When I finally turned, I saw him at the top of the hill, glaring down at me, drenched, panting and furious, his eyes locked on mine, unblinking, as if I had robbed him of something. I didn't wait. I sprinted for my car, adrenaline burning. When I reached it, I jumped in, slammed the door shut, and peeled out of the lot. My hands were shaking. In the rearview mirror, I caught one final glimpse. He was standing just at the edge of the woods, watching. No other cars, no reason for him to still be there. I didn't tell my parents. I knew they'd never let me run again, and I needed that release more than ever. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing his face, that twisted smirk, and thinking about how close he'd gotten. But what came next haunts me even more. Around 3 a.m., my stepdad got home from work and burst into my room in a panic. He told me to come outside. My car door was wide open, the back window smashed, the seats slashed. Nothing had been stolen, just destroyed. That's when it all clicked. The man must have seen which car I got into when I left the park. Maybe he followed me from a distance. Maybe he already had a car nearby, but somehow he had tracked me. That's how he found out where I lived. He followed me all the way home, waited until we were asleep, and then vandalized my car in the middle of the night. We lived in a secluded area with only 2 neighbors, and no one heard a thing. It wasn't about theft. It was about sending a message. My family sold the house when I went off to college, and I've never gone back. But I still wonder what would have happened if I hadn't turned down that hill. Or worse, if he had decided to come inside.